These shapes on the wall are all you know. Dancing in front of you, they are your whole reality. How could you know that they are just shadows, cast by firelight, flickering through the mysterious void that surrounds this strange little world? Their familiar movement brings you comfort, but you long for something more. You can stay here forever if you wish, or finally try to see what lies beyond the shapes, and begin a bold adventure into a world far greater than this one.
Hold up, aren't you the 5-minute raid guy? What the hell is this runtime? Shouldn't you be designing a new thumbnail template?
Before y'all blow up the comments, yes, I'm Cketch, and I'm trying something new. Until now, you've been able to catch me on stream, dressing up as the witness, leading raid runs, and editing my videos. And there's a common thread in everything I do here. I love playing and teaching Destiny. Now, I don't do carries, I do Sherpas, showing fellow Guardians how to do things themselves. Lead a Titan to a box of crayons and they'll eat for life, right? Still, it's tricky to balance teaching with the joyous sense of discovery that comes from just playing the game for yourself. I'm a D1 beta player and a Day 1 Guardian, so I've seen and done it all. With the next saga of Destiny coming soon, everyone's asking a similar question. Does this game still got the juice? I think it does, and what exactly that means is a little complicated. So, as usual, I'm going to try to break it down. To evaluate Destiny's future, we've got to look at its past. So today, I'm going to do that by looking at something that I believe is truly special. The best thing Destiny has ever done.
Hey. Yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here?
In this essay, I will... Nah, that fucking sucks. My first experience with Destiny was at RTX 2014, and while I was busy checking out the upcoming Halo 2 anniversary, the voices of my favorite web series, remember that term? They were showing off competitive deathmatch set on Earth's dusty, dilapidated moon. More than 10 years later, that moon still exists, albeit haunted, and I still go there from time to time. Not that map, of course. That only exists in Destiny 1. And if you think I'm suffering 30 FPS to play that, then you gotta get the f*** off my channel. The game is constantly evolving, which is part of the game's original marketing. But we should look at what things specifically have evolved. Tangibly, we have more guns, more mission types, more complex raids, more subclasses, more PvP maps. Asterisk. It went from premium to free to play with microtransactions. Whole campaigns were deleted. We've had multiple scandals, 26 seasons of content. It's a really big game, y'all. Frankly, I'm surprised I'm not tired of the game, like lots of people seemingly are. But there is a core truth that keeps me coming back. Destiny 1 launched as a one-of-a-kind online FPS with great gameplay, and Destiny 2 is still very much that. Regardless of all its ups and downs, there's a great game at the heart of all this Destiny content TM that just feels good. It would be a legitimate shame to lose a shooter this buttery smooth, visually inventive, asterisk, and downright creative. Destiny has great bones, which is part of why people keep checking in on the old gal to see if she's still breathing. But good bones hasn't always been enough. Vanilla Destiny's campaign and its first 2 expansions were a critical disappointment and narratively just confusing. Yet, we stuck around. The other part of lingering interest is something less tangible but just as important, the very real sense of awe and mystery.
Whoa, big ball in the sky! What'd that do? Where from? Why so much bugs? What's the story about? Can't explain. Too hard. No, we're all confused and angry and leaving because this game makes no... Wait! Who's this? Daddy Oryx? I'm back in!
But only if he could step on me a little bit. Even back when I called Vanilla Destiny just shitty, pretty Borderlands, it stuck in my mind. The stories it tried to tell weren't just bad, they were disappointing. Because it was clear that they could have been good. Having just beaten Doom the Dark Ages, let me tell you, it's very possible to show off a complex mythos with a nonsense campaign that leaves me with no questions. But Destiny, man, it gets its hooks in you. I don't remember who won that deathmatch in 2014, but I remember looking at that map thinking, why do these moon buildings look old and abandoned? Every time I stepped away, these nagging thoughts dragged me back in. What is the Traveler? Who would kill Nathan Fillion? Sometimes Destiny asks big questions directly, but at its best, it leaves us asking bigger questions about the world around us. The guns feel good, but why am I still here? It's the questions, which begs another big one. What's next?
And after that,
we'll face the future when it comes.
About a year ago, Bungie delivered The Final Shape, a story expansion that sought to conclude the first 10-year saga of Destiny storytelling. It's no secret that this ending wasn't planned out a decade in advance, How I Met Your Mother style, because we all know how that went, but it did an admirable job of recovering from the failures of the dreadfully disappointing Lightfall and telling a story that was impactful for the characters, the universe, and the players that stuck it through. And it did this by answering almost every single question we had. Look, when you tell a story for a decade straight, points that have been set up eventually need to be paid off. I don't think Bungie should be holding back its narrative just to keep us curious. Lost ended before Destiny began, and that fan base is somehow still angrier than we are. But it's telling that as the final shape loomed, there was a prevailing sense of dread, of finality, because players saw it as a narrative off-ramp. And that's kind of fascinating to me. Games like Call of Duty live or die based on how they feel to play. But since Destiny always feels good to play, it lives or dies by whether people are curious enough to engage with the story. This is why 10-hour videos of Destiny lore get millions of views. It's why there's an entire content industry about dissecting the gameplay sandbox. And it's why even though hundreds of thousands of players said, "I'll stop playing after the final shape," some of them are peeping the upcoming Edge of Fate expansion like, that looks tasty. I can't pretend that there's complete overlap between these people. I know everybody's got their reasons to play or not, but recently my old buddy Ryan messaged me asking what's new in the game and when to come back, and that just makes me happy. Miss you, Ryan. It's good shit over here. I got you a burnt sienna. Come on, eat up. Let's go kill stuff. All of this leaves Destiny in a weird spot. We know what the Traveler is, mostly. We've befriended old villains. We've gotten closure on our biggest losses, and even though we just explored 3 loose story ends that could be picked up down the road, the larger world of the game just feels solved. I'm not the first person to make this analysis, but buried in all the answers of the final shape is a map. I think Bungie has already demonstrated that they can make awesome, mysterious things that pay off old questions while asking new ones, pushing Destiny's gameplay and community further. Salvation's Edge is the raid in Destiny 2, the final shape. Like all Destiny raids, it tasks 6 players with the most devious challenges that Bungie's raid and dungeon team can conjure. Unless it's Root of Nightmares. But this was brutal. When it launched, I dropped out of contest mode on the second encounter, and I scrambled to assemble my 8-minute guide. The first team to beat Salvation's Edge did it in just under a day. I'm pretty sure they were the only ones to do that. And even a year later, it's still the least played raid in the game, primarily because of its reputation. Nobody wants to teach it. It's too long. It's too hard. I want to change this raid's reputation, partly by teaching it once a month, and partly by making this video about the best thing Destiny's done. Wait, Cketch, you took like 15 minutes to say Salvation's Edge is the best thing ever? No, because it's not. Let me explain. There are 5 encounters in the raid. In the first 3, Substratum, Herald of Finality, and Repository, players climb the mysterious monolith that our enemy, the Witness, has been building deep inside the Traveler, all up in its guts. And in each encounter, the Witness attacks players with magical shapes. First a pyramid, then a sphere, then a cube, or a hexahedron if you're a game designer that lives on r/IamVerySmart. It's possible to use these shapes against it, but only with the help of giant circuits and conductors that we find lying around. Our adversary can attack from anywhere, but they're so much bigger and more powerful than we are that the only way we can fight back is to use its own machines against it. Smarter video essayists have spoken at length about ludonarrative dissonance, the concept that the story players experience through gameplay can butt heads with the story being told by other elements like art or dialogue. Games like The Last of Us play with this intentionally, forcing players to commit acts they may find heinous despite empathizing with the characters that they control. Other games like Far Cry usually kind of ignore this for the sake of being fun. Like, don't think about all the murders and explosions you're doing. Just be a badass jetpack arsonist. Have fun. Don't think about the monster that you've become. Destiny tries very hard to achieve ludonarrative harmony across the whole game. There's a story explanation for respawning after death. The loading screens are just flying your ships between missions. You can pet the robot dog, because who wouldn't pet the robot dog in real life? In Salvation's Edge, I think that harmony is achieved beautifully without being outright explained. If the narrative is that we are all facing the biggest, baddest enemy of all time, it makes sense that the Ludo narrative would be that our enemy is so much bigger and badder that we need its own help to defeat it. So after 3 encounters of climbing, killing, and putting everything in the square hole, what story is being told? After closing your last resonance conductor, you step over the glowing, dying roots of the Traveler and fall into something brand new, something shocking, the crux of Salvation's story and the heart of this video. Verity is the best thing that Destiny has ever done. So what is Verity? Webster's dictionary defines, shut the f*** up! In this 4th encounter, the room is stark white. Those little 3D shapes we were picking up are gone. We see statues of ourselves and shadows dancing across the wall. It begins when pressing a button that says Free Guardian, then immediately traps 3 of them in a space by themselves. All you can do is look at shapes and statues, trading shadows and shifting orbs into cones. It's surprising and it's baffling. The first 3 encounters did nothing to prepare us for this. Or did they? Another excuse to not play this raid is that people don't want to learn Verity, and I understand why. After I dropped out of contest mode, I spent an entire weekend frantically searching Reddit and scrubbing through the stream archives of like the 8 people that have completed it. But for 3 hours straight, I scratched my head, crossing out notes, looking desperately for answers in an environment where there were only questions. And I felt like I was going insane until something clicked. The shadows, the shapes, the light. I scrolled past a comment that I ignored for a while, but like the best mysteries in Destiny, it stuck in my head. This sounds like Plato's allegory of the cave. That's right, Verity is an adaptation of a 2,000-year-old thought experiment written by Greek philosopher Plato as documented in his work, The Republic.
Dork!
It's an examination of ignorance and perspective, and it goes like this. Imagine people have lived their whole lives chained up in a cave, and all they can see are shadows on the wall cast by people behind them. To the prisoners, the shadows are their whole reality. If someone with a hefty appetite for colored wax managed to break those chains and escape, the light would hurt their eyes, and the 3D world would just confuse them. Typical Titan main, am I right? And they might just go back into the shadows because they're safe and familiar. Eureka! I've solved it! I'm not gonna teach Verity here, but I do want to examine its story. 3 players are trapped in these little caves with shadows on the wall and shapes in their hands. Triangle, circle, square. 3 other players are outside the cave with 3D objects in those same hands. Cone, cylinder, prism. The trapped players can only escape once they change the shadows on the wall to match the 3D objects outside. And when the outside players make the 3D shapes that cast the same shadows that the trapped players see. Everybody, inside and outside of the caves, needs to prove that they understand the world around them to break free. After Guardians have demonstrated this understanding, they face the Witness, the final boss, and all his shaped attacks are let loose. But the machinery we used against him earlier is absent, so it seems hopeless. Suddenly, we can harness his powers. Without the help of circuits and pickups, we understand the power of the Witness on a fundamental level, and now we can fight back. This is a story told entirely with game mechanics from the start of the raid to the end. To me, that is a fucking magic trick, and I can't believe Bungie pulled it off. Look, it's not a perfect allegory, but there is still a Ludo narrative, rich enough that it can be debated and interpreted in different ways. In a gun game, where rocket go boom and big number go up. Pseudo-intellectual bullshit aside, what does Verity feel like? Well, at first, frustration. Not because the enemies are too tough or I accidentally fell in the hole again, but because getting 6 people to memorize and execute 3 sets of brand new game mechanics is tough. But in a Destiny raid, tough makes the best fire teams. One by one, players begin to understand how each shape works, and when your friend cries Eureka, you feel it too, because you're also one step closer to victory. Nobody can sit this one out. Everyone is involved, and every effort, down to the shape of your pants, is crucial. The need to memorize your fire team's names and equipment while knowing that your success is in their hands can lead to some of the best bonding experiences I've had in the game. And also some of the worst, but you know, whatever. There have been over 50 Destiny raid encounters in the last decade, and we usually only know the names of the ones that we farm for loot over and over and over and over and over and over. But the Destiny community talks about Verity in hushed tones. Figuring it out for myself, poring over streams and forums, was euphoric. Teaching it to others may test my patience, but even if I explain every step, the sense of discovery I normally struggle to preserve still hits them in full force. Learning how this bizarre world of shapes and shadows actually works is a destination that's worth every step of the journey. I can give you a million reasons why Verity is unique, but in truth, it's also just plain good. Down to its last revelation that the salvation we've been promised for 5 years is actually just rot and desiccation, a reality we can only see now that we've broadened our understanding of the Witness, the world, and the friends we made along the way. F***ing kill me.
Nobody makes my fate but me.
Okay, so why is Verity the best thing Destiny has ever done? And why am I talking about it 1 year later? Well, some of Destiny's coolest moments are the ones that engage the community, like augmented reality game puzzles or secret missions. But I think those are just the parts that add up to Destiny as a whole. Verity is a microcosm of all of this. It's a distillation of everything that we love about the game. Yes, it's got guns and aliens, but it's also beautiful, a bit confusing, requires working together with fellow Guardians, and is way too cerebral for the average dad just trying to enjoy a minute of fucking peace between vape breaks. It's not about shooting the same bad guys. It's about understanding the same things. The final shape promised to be an end to 10 years of storytelling. Salvation's Edge promised to be that story's climax. We could have just climbed the tower and killed the witness and then uninstalled the game until they let us play as Darth Vader. Oh my God, take my money! But instead they went above and beyond, crafting Verity, the answer to questions nobody was asking. That begs another big one. If Bungie could make this, then what could they make next? When Bungie proves it can surprise us, do the unexpected, and do it this well, that tells me that Destiny still got the juice. The upcoming Edge of Fate story seems like it's going to answer a lot of questions about another series of enigmatic characters instead of introducing something brand new, which does make me a bit nervous. After all the layoffs and controversies, at least Bungie has demonstrated that it knows there aren't enough questions being asked. And they're explicitly inspired by Metroidvanias, a subgenre defined by mysterious and moody games like Hollow Knight and Metroid Prime. None of this sounds bad or wrong, but I can't help but worry that we already understand the world around us, with all its shapes and shadows, and there's nothing left to discover. But Verity says I'm wrong, that even if I know what to expect from Destiny, something will blow my freaking mind so hard that I can only be excited about what's next. Nobody may fully understand my unique experience of learning this encounter, but that's okay, because you can still have your own. Plato predicted that learning the truth of the cave would drive its dwellers to kill each other rather than working together to escape. But here, success requires every player and every perspective to overcome the allegory itself. After all these years, Guardians still make their own fate. Verity isn't the best thing Destiny has done because it had never been done before, but because I don't think it can ever be done again. Everything I love about the game and its community can be found in this room. If anything else can ever eclipse it, it must do so beyond Verity's shadowed walls and open our minds to something new. So much for watching my first video essay, the best thing Destiny has ever done. You might not agree with me, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. This was a huge project I've wanted to do for a while, took weeks, I had to move in the middle of it, and this is hopefully a good way to convince people to sign up for my brand new Patreon. Not just for like video essays, but for all my normal guides. I just kind of thought that, hey, if I just really put a little extra love and some production muscle into something, maybe show you all what I got. I'll make sure that you guys can get the remixes that I made for this on the Patreon. You'll be able to see how I make stuff, contribute, take polls, feedback, all that sort of thing. Regardless, I'll be covering the Edge of Fate launch, and that includes getting a raid guide out as soon as possible. Gonna try to keep it under 5 minutes. But again, this video is a new thing for me, so if you did enjoy it or want to see more, like, share, all that good stuff. Either way, I'll see you on stream, see you in Discord. Get raiding, Guardians.